Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Welcome back to Physics DLP KSSM for Form 4 with me, Cikgu Hasmita from SMK Braganjaya. So for today, we are going to continue with the next Content Standard 2.7, Impulse and Impulsive Force. So, what will be our learning standard for 2.7? Number 1, each and every one of you must know how to communicate to explain impulse and impulsive force. And second, to solve problems involving impulse and impulsive force. So if you are ready, let's check with this first slide. Okay, what can you see in this situation 1? Yes, you can see that two cars are collide. So what happened to the car after the collision? Yes, a very terrible damage. So what causes this damage, students? Very good. Okay, so in this accident, you can see that the force acted can cause severe damage and injuries to the driver or the passengers inside. And this strong force which is acted in a very short time of interval during the accident is known as impulsive force. So in physics, impulsive force refers to the rate of change of momentum in a collision or in an impact in a very short period of time. Bang! Okay, and this is the formula for impulsive force, where F equal mv minus mu. This is the change of momentum, or also known as impulse. Okay, in a unit of kilogram meter per second, and divide t. This is the time in a unit of second. So the unit for impulsive force is measured in Newton or kilogram meter per second squared. What can you say about this situation too? Observe the legs of both athletes upon landing. Yes, very good. As you can see in both situations, both athletes bend their legs upon landing. What is the reason of doing that? Yes, this is an effort to increase the time of impact. So what happened to the impulsive force produced when the time of impact increases? Yes, it will reduce the magnitude of impulsive force which is acting on their body. So by this, it will help to reduce pain or any risk of injuries on both athletes. Simple, right? So remember, bending legs is to increase or to prolong or to extend the time of impact. So by that, to reduce impulsive force and to reduce injuries. I wonder that some of you might asking, what is this time of impact refers to? So students, remember, time of impact is not the time taken for jumping or dropping. It is the time of impact or the time of contact between the objects or between the object and the surface. In this case, it is between the ball and the surface. Alright? Okay, next, let's take a look at this. What is the relationship between impulsive force and change of momentum? And what is the relationship between impulsive force and time of impact? So from this equation of F equal to mv minus mu divide t, what can you see there? Very good. Okay, you can see that as the impulse or change of momentum increases, the impulsive force also increases. Whereby, below here, as the time of impact increases, the impulsive force decreases. So we can come to this relationship where number 1, change in momentum or impulse is directly proportional to the impulsive force, whereby the time of impact is inversely proportional to the impulsive force. Students, do you remember Newton's first law of motion? Yes, very good. Newton's first law of motion relates to inertia, where an object will remain at rest or keep moving in its constant velocity provided that there is no external forces acting on the object. How about Newton's second law of motion? Yes, it is F equal to ma. We apply that in 2.6 force. So when we are talking about 2.7 impulse and impulsive force, it can be related to the Newton's third law of motion, where it says that for every action, there is a reaction of equal magnitude but in the opposite direction. So what does it mean? If you refer to these two examples, the first one is the pestle and mortar. So the action of mortar will causes an reaction on the pestle, okay, which mean when these two pestle and mortar are come into contact, there will be an impulsive force produced, and this impulsive force produced will be acting on the food inside and crush them easily, okay. Second example, if you look at this footballer, the moment he kick on the ball, there is an action applied on the ball, and at the same time there will be a reaction on the foot. So as a result, the ball will moving in a forward direction due to the impulsive force produced. Okay, and now let's take a look at this example on how to reduce impulsive force by increasing the time of impact. Okay, look at this high jump event. What can you see that? The jumper is landed on a very soft and thick mattress. While the second example, you can see that there is an airbag which is functioned during a head-on collision. How about the third diagram? You can see where the eggs is kept at. Okay, it is kept inside a soft board container made from a soft board, and then the television, it is covered with styrofoam at all ages. So this mattress styrofoam crumple zone in a car is used to increase the time of impact. So again, what happened to the impulsive force produced when the time of impact is increases? Yes, very good. It will be reduced. It will be lower down. So this will cause us less damage or less injuries on the person or all these objects. Okay, let's take a look at this example. What happened to the impulsive force when we increase the time of impact? Okay, first example, the time of impact is 1 second. The change of momentum is 10. Okay, so the impulsive force produced will be 10 Newton. Okay, now what if we increase the time of impact from 1 second to 5 seconds, and the change of momentum or impulse is constant at 10? So you will see that the impulsive force is now reduced to 2 Newton. So again, in this example, we can see that how we reduce the impulsive force by increasing the time of impact. Now let us check on the next situation on how we can increase the impulsive force by reducing the time of impact. In our daily life, we sometimes need this impulsive force, for example, in crushing this chili using a mortar and pestle. So what can you see there? Very good. You can see that the pestle, which is moving at a very high velocity, is stopped by a hard mortar in a very short time of interval. So as a result, a large impulsive force is produced and crush the chilies. So we can prove this by equation, where again, if you look at the impulsive force, what will be the magnitude when the time of contact is 5 seconds? Okay, and the impulse or change its momentum is 10. Yes, it will be 2 Newton. And now what happened if we reduce the time of impact from 5 seconds to 1 second? You can see that the impulsive force produced now is higher, which is 10 Newton. Okay, when the impulse is kept constant at 10. So again, in this example, we can see that by reducing the time of impact, it will increase the impulsive force. Okay, now let's check on this. This is the situation where we can increase the magnitude of impulse or change of momentum by doing a follow-through action. In some sport, the follow-through actions are applied. For example, in football. Where else? Yes, very good. In softball, in golf. Yes, very good. And many more. So what happened in this diagram, you can see that a follow-through action after a strong kick produces a large impulse. Okay, you can see that the leg or the feet of the footballer, it follow the movement of the ball. So that is called as a follow-through action. And as a result, the ball will experience a very large change in momentum and move at a high velocity. So it will travel further inside the field. Okay, so again, by calculation, we can find the impulsive force. Okay, this is the time of contact, which is 5 seconds. And now the change of momentum is 50. This is without follow-through action. So we will see that impulsive force produced is 10 Newton. Okay, and second, what happens if we increase the change of momentum? We increase the impulse to 100. Where the time of impact is now constant at 5. So you can see that a higher impulsive force produced. So here again, follow-through action is used or applied to increase the magnitude of impulse, where as a result, it will increase the impulsive force where finally the ball travel at a high velocity. Okay, students, so now let us continue by doing some exercises on impulse and impulsive force. So let's check with the first example. What do we have here? A dart. Anybody playing dart here? Okay, we have a dart which mass of 0.040 kg is thrown with a velocity of 10 meter per second and hits a board. The dart sticks to the board. So you are asking to find what is the impulse produced on the dart. So how to find the impulse? Impulse refers to, yes, change in momentum. So how to find the impulse produced on the dart? Again, remember the 3 steps of solving a problem. Number 1, you can list down all the given information. So we are given with the mass 0.04 kg. Initial velocity of the dart is 10 meter per second. So it travels with initial velocity of 10 meter per second. And finally, it sticks on the board, which means the final velocity is, yes, 0 meter per second. So second step, identify the applicable equation. Yes, so how to find impulse? We can apply mv minus mu, since we are given with all 3 m, u, and v. And we do the substitution, mass 0.04, final velocity 0. So minus with the initial momentum with the mass and initial velocity of 10. So this will give you an impulse of negative 0.4 Newton second. So the negative sign shows here that the impulse is acting in the opposite direction to the velocity of the dart. Alright, now let's check on example number 2. Okay, now we have a bowling player. Can you name a few bowling players that you know? Shalin Zulkifli, any more? Yeah, Kara Honeychurch from Australia. Okay, very good. Okay, so a bowling player strikes the pins of mass 45.93 gram at the velocity of 50 meter per second. If the time of impact is 0.005 second, what is the impulsive force exerted on the pins by the bowling now? So in this example, we are looking for impulsive force. Again, we can list down all the given information. Remember, the mass is given in grams, so you have to convert them into kg. SI unit for mass is in kilogram. So 0.04593 kg. Initial velocity 0. Why? Before the bowling ball is released, it is at rest in the hand of the bowling player. Yes. And then it released with the final velocity of 50 the moment it hit the pin with the final velocity of 50 meter per second, and the time of impact is 0.005 second. So how to find impulsive force? So we can apply this formula of F equal mv minus mu divide t. Alright, so this is the mass and this is the final velocity. This is again the mass, initial velocity, and the time of impact 0.005 second. So you will end up with impulsive force F 459.3 Newton. Okay, now the value is positive, which means the impulsive force is acting in the same direction as the velocity of the bowling ball. Okay, students, so are you ready with exercise 1? Okay, let's proceed with the first question. Here you have to state two physics quantities which can produce larger change of momentum or impulse. So according to this equation, F equal mv minus mu divide t, where mv minus mu is the impulse. So you can see there are two factors affect impulse there, which is force and yes, time of impact. So what is the two physics quantity? Here is, yes, force and time of impact. Easy, right? Okay, next question. Number 2. Okay, in this situation, you are given a diagram where you have to explain why the football player throws the ball as shown in the diagram. So what do we call this action? Remember? Very good. This is what we call as a follow-through action. So follow-through action will create large impulse, which means large change in momentum. So the change of momentum of the ball will be larger, and this will make the ball travel with high velocity. Okay, so again, it is follow-through action which will create large impulse, which means change of momentum of the ball will be larger. Finally, the ball travel with high velocity. Okay. How about number 3? Okay, at number 3. Okay. Now you have to state the relationship between impulsive force and time of impact. And this is the basic one. When the change of momentum or impulse is constant. So what can you say? How can we relate impulsive force and time of impact? Yes, very good. So the relationship is inversely proportional. Okay, impulsive force is inversely proportional to the time of impact. So can you fill up the table below how to write the relationship? Okay, so here you're given a table of time and impulsive force produced either high or low. So what happened to the impulsive force when the time is longer? Time of contact is longer. Yes, definitely impulsive force produced will be low. And when the time of impact is shorter, very short time of impact, so what happened? Yes, a high impulsive force will be produced. So again, we say impulsive force is inversely proportional to the time of impact. Okay, now let's move with question 4. Okay, here you can experience on your own. You can try these exercises on your own. Okay, you can hit the table slowly with your hand. Okay, try to hit the table slowly with your hand. Is the impulsive force acting on your hand big or small? Did you feel any pain? I don't think so. So we can write there small. Okay, the impulsive force produced will be small. Now how about this one? Now try to hit the table harder. Okay, so can you describe what happened to your hand in terms of impulsive force? Did you feel any pain, even though very little? Definitely yes. So you can say painful. Why? This is because the moment we hit the table harder, there is a bigger change in momentum, bigger change in impulse. So it will cause high impulsive force produced. Okay, bigger change in momentum will produce high impulsive force. How about number 3, C? Okay, now I need you to hit the table faster. Okay, hit it faster. Faster means there is a very short time of contact between your hand and the table. You can hear the sound, right? Okay, very fast. Did you feel any painful in your hand now? Yes, again you can feel the painful because this time when the time of impact is shorter, again a high impulsive force will be produced. Okay, so what differentiate B and C? In B, when you hit harder, change of momentum is bigger. So create high impulsive force. And in C, hit faster, time of impact is shorter, so produce high impulsive force. Okay, interesting, right? Okay, now let's proceed with the second exercise. Exercise number 2, Mokhtar Dahari. Have you ever heard this name, students? Do you know who is this person, Mokhtar Dahari? Yeah, he is our legendary footballer. One of the person who responsible to bring our team to the Olympics. You better believe me. Yes, we used to be qualified for Olympic in Moscow in 1980, if I'm not mistaken, on 1980. But since we boycott the Olympic for that year due to the attack on Russian on Afghanistan, so we didn't send our team there. Until today, we never qualified again for the second time for Olympic. So still waiting the golden moment. So back to our question, Mokhtar Dahari kicks a ball with a force of 1,500 Newton. And the time of contact of his boot with the ball is 0.01 second. So what is the impulse delivered to the ball? First question, find the impulse delivered. And second, if the mass of the ball is 0.5 kg, what is the velocity of the ball? Okay, so how to solve this? Very simple. Again, we can list down all the given information. We're given with F 1,500, time of impact 0.01 second, and the mass of the ball 0.5 kg. So how to find impulse? So this is another way to find impulse. We cannot use mv minus mu here since we don't have the final velocity. Okay, we only have initial velocity before the ball is kicked. Velocity is 0. But we don't have v, so instead of using mv minus mu, here we can use ft to find the impulse. Okay, so impulse is given by ft. F is 1,500 and the time of impact 0.01. So this will give us an impulse of 15 Newton second. Okay, and then how to find the velocity of the ball? It travel with what velocity, what final velocity? So we apply ft minus mu, mv minus mu to find v. Okay, so this is the value of impulse we determined earlier, which is 15. So the mass of the ball 0.5, v we are looking for, and this is the initial velocity 0. As I mentioned earlier, why initial velocity 0? Before the ball is kicked, it is at rest. Okay, so this will give us the final velocity of 30 meter per second. And now let's check for question 2. So previously we have bowling, and then later on we have football, and now we have tennis. So either you are alert or not, impulse and impulsive force apply a lot in sports, right? So any tennis player which you know, either other than Rafael Nadal or Roger Federer? Yeah, very good. We have Serena Williams of USA. Who else? Kei Nishikori of Japan, Lina of China, Andre Agassi, the legend. Okay, Pete Sampras of US, also the legend, and many more. Okay, so back to our question. In a tennis match, a player hits an oncoming ball with a mass of 0.2 kg and velocity of 20 meter per second. The ball rebounds with a velocity of 40 meter per second. So the time taken in the collision between the ball and the tennis racket is 0.01 second. So you can see in this diagram, initially the ball is coming to the left. It moves in the left direction. That's why the initial velocity is negative 20. Remember, in this chapter, any movement to the left or downwards considered to have negative direction. Any movement to the right or upwards are having positive direction. Okay, and then the moment it hit the racket, it bounced back with the final velocity of 40 meter per second to the right, and the mass of the ball 0.2 kg, time of impact 0.01 second. So what is the question? Let's check on the next slide. A, you have to find the impulse experienced by the ball. And second, impulsive force exerted on it. Okay, so how to find the impulse? So again, we list out all the given information, which is u negative 20. Again, y negative, moving to the left. Final velocity 40 meter per second to the right. Time of impact 0.01 second, mass 0.2 kg. So how to find impulse? Very good. We can apply mv minus mu. Yes. So this is the final momentum mv, and this is the initial momentum. Okay. So the change of momentum or the impulse is 12 kilogram meter per second or 12 Newton second. Okay. Now the impulsive force mv minus mu divide t. Yes. Very good. So it is 12 divide by the time of impact 0.01 second, so will give us an impulsive force of 1200 kilogram meter per second squared, or normally written as 1200 Newton. Easy, right? Okay, now let's check on a few applications of impulse and impulsive force. Students, in our daily life, either you realize or not, in some situation we have to avoid this impulsive force, okay, to avoid damage on an object or to avoid injuries on a person. But in some situation we need this impulsive force to help us in doing works. So let's take a look in what situation we have to avoid this impulsive force, in what situation we need them. So number one, in this situation you are given a high jump event. Okay, you can see there a high jumper lands on a thick and soft mattress. So what is the purpose of placing a soft, thick mattress there? So it will, yes, the mattress will cause the time of impact upon landing will be extended. The word extended there can be changed with prolong or increase. Okay, so the time of impact upon landing is extended. So this will cause the impulsive force produced to be decreases, and by that way to reduce injuries on the jumpers. Okay, let's check on the second situation. Okay, here we have a goalkeeper. In some sports, the goalkeeper needs to wear the glove. So what is the importance of using the glove in catching the ball? You can see that the glove has a soft surface. Okay, it made from a soft material. So again, this will cause the time of impact when catching the ball will be extended, increases or prolonged. So reduce impulsive force and reduce the pain acting on the goalie's hand. Alright. And now in the next situation, this is where we need the impulsive force, where the impulsive force are said to be beneficial. Okay, so let's check on the situation. A karate expert. Any karate expertise out there? Black belt or red belt maybe? Are you one of them? Very good. Okay, so a karate expert can break a thick wooden slab with his bare hand that move at a very fast speed, as you can see in this diagram. Okay, so what happened? How a high impulsive force produced here? Very easy. The hand move faster. So the moment the hand move with a faster or with a high velocity, the time of impact between the hand and the wood will be shortened. Okay, very short time of impact. So this will create a high impulsive force which enable to break the wooden slab. And now let's check on the second situation where the impulsive force is required or beneficial. So you can see there is a massive hammerhead moving at a fast speed is brought to rest upon hitting the nail. So both nail and hammer has a very hard surface since both are made of metal. So what can you say about the time of impact? Time of contact. Very good. The time of contact between the hammerhead and the nail is very short. So this will create a very high impulsive force. And that is the reason why the nail can be penetrated into the wall easily. Okay, other than the sharp end, a high impulsive force causing the nail to be penetrated into the wall easily. Okay, so what do you think about 2.7, impulse and impulsive force? Can you deal with them? So I hope you are doing well with 2.7. Okay, so next we will continue with 2.8. Wait, so students, don't forget to stay tuned in my channel, Cikgu Hasnita. Thank you very much for supporting me all this while. So pray for me so that I can produce more videos in the future. And I hope all these videos will help you either less or more. So that's all for today. Again, thank you very much for watching. Assalamualaikum and have a great day ahead. Goodbye.